Okay, welcome. This is a late report again now, but I think we have to do what's coming up for the week, and I'm going to go through each of the things that I go through, which is what the market is doing, what the expected strong areas we are in the industry. And so again, I want to welcome you to optionstradingpilot.com. I am Proforma24, also known as Guillermo. I'm the Chief Trading Pilot. And I wanted to share with you some of the work that we do here at night to get ready for the next day. So we're going to hit a few earnings as far as like earnings plays that you might be interested in working through. I will know more if I'm going to put those trades in. I actually took some profits on the one we're going to talk about first, which is AMC, which comes out tomorrow night. And then the other ones we'll hit today is going to be Workhorse. Then we're going to look at AFRM. And then we're also going to look at BLNK and just a high flyer potentially ADTX. So stay tuned and enjoy. So let's start with what we're looking at here. Let me share this screen. Share screen. And it's right here. Here we go. This is the RRG from Stock Charts. It's one of my favorite things to look at, especially on Sunday night, to see where we should probably put a lot of the trades in. And again, you can see that the bank index and the semiconductor index are still in the leading category, which is the upper right. And so that tells us that we can either just trade those straight up as far as like finding ETFs that do that, or go deep. Dig a little deeper and find actual stocks to trade in. So I've done really well with the semiconductors and specifically SOXL. That's the one I've been trading. I haven't been doing too much with banks, except just a little bit. I like Goldman Sachs. I've liked Goldman Sachs for a long time as far as a trading vehicle, long-term investment. So that has been going well. And then of course, natural gas, which maybe it'll keep going strong. And the new entrant here you can see is oil. And to look at the chart, oil is actually number one. Look at this change. That's very strong. I know Biden talked about potentially closing another pipeline. Infrastructure bill looks like it passed the House. So we should expect inflation. I know I understand that the Fed basically said this was temporary, but I think you're seeing it at the pump. I think you understand what's going on. Just trying to go buy some meat this past weekend, and I was, I don't get surprised, but I was like, oh my gosh. I typically buy my steaks months at a time, so I just wanted a special cut last night, and it was pretty expensive. So anyway, let's get back to it. Let's see. So you can see that oil, then it's followed by natural gas, the bank index, and then of course semiconductor. It's really nice to see that gold has made it there. Gold is really tough to trade. So I'm going to tell you that if you're looking for a hedge for inflation, then I know traditionally you want gold and silver, and maybe that wave that's coming is just they can't keep hiding it. But when I say they, I'll give you a little story. So last November 3rd for the election, I had my laptop ready to trade futures, and if I saw that Biden was going to win, then I was going to put in a really heavy investment into gold and silver. And I did a lot of research. I looked at lumber, I looked at copper, ended up going traditional. Well, needless to say, that didn't turn out. And I was very disappointed because lumber and copper during the same time went up over 300%, some of them. So I would have done the same thing. It would have been a really, really nice return for the year. So anyway, that's my story. That I'm sore on gold and silver, but I still have positions in there, and I think tactically is a good idea. Pretty difficult to hold long term unless you have the physical gold. So just be cautious with that. This is the oil index. You can see that there's a big drawdown here from July all the way to August 23rd. But since then, it's been nonstop, and this is an all too familiar aggregation zone, and then we have the explosion. We may be seeing aggregation zone, but I don't think so. I think we're going to see higher highs here coming up, but maybe a slightly longer term play, like a 2-month, 3-month quarterly play. But you can always trade it tactically. What I mean by that is like trade it day by day, and make sure you set your stops. So without going I went a little too far. And again, I really like to compare it to other things that I'm looking at. You can see that it just goes up and down, and it's done really well. So relative to other things, natural gas, we got to look at it. Looks like it's trying to break out of this zone here. And we may be seeing the higher highs once again, even though it's gone through an extended uptrend. I mean, this is significant. You can see that. So it's been aggregating, and we may see this bounce. I'd be interested to see where it's going to break tomorrow. So very interested to see that. If it breaks, just so you know, above the 50% line of where it did yesterday, or higher, we should probably take a trade in that. SPY, of course. Let's review the SPY. Look at this, phenomenal. It's just been going strong ever since we had this month-long dead period with volatility. We've just seen this skyrocket back up, and even though we will probably see choppier markets here going forward, I still do anticipate closing out the year very strong. So if we get over November 15th, maybe late November, and we're still going strong, then expect to start the window dressing by the investment managers, and a nice Christmas bonus, right? Like upcoming for the first quarter for them, for their performance. So look to see ending a very strong quarter. On the weekly view, obviously it looks way more peaceful. You can see this is the COVID area again, but outside of that, if you're a longer term investor and not a quick trader, then you can see you've had it pretty easy as far as like your decisions, right? So all you have to say is just buy it. And whenever you see a big red candle, buy it again. I'll caution you though, don't get used to that. This is atypical, and at one point or another, you're not going to be able to make that. So one of the rules, and I haven't clarified this with hard data, just looking back at just visually some of the things that I've looked at, is that if you see a 12% drop in the market, then it was likely to retrace back up, but then come down. So if you see that, and you're thinking about buying the dip and it gets below 12%, then perhaps just buy it, see it where it goes halfway, and then come down. Obviously, you should do your own back test, and I'm going to finish doing that back test, and I'll report it over here as far as my results. But do know that there is a point where it's very difficult to come back, because it's almost like a wave turning over, and no matter what the powers that be do, like the ECB buying up technically equities, just been driving this market strong. And first it was FOMC, now it looks like the ECB is doing it pretty strongly. You can see this is an old chart, but it's interesting to know how this downward force still on this VIX keeps going. And then Boeing, of course, I like to review Boeing. I traded Boeing for a long time, and we talked about last week the potential of having hit a low. Looks like so far we're right. And so we should continue seeing this going strong. I know we have this strong rejection, this long wick candle with a doji at on October 11th. So I would anticipate with this volume participation on Friday, Friday was a good day to trade, that we should see this moving forward, and then hopefully overcome this 232 sometime this week. This is aggressive of me to ask for that, but everything's been moving fast. So we might see like 1 or 2 days that won't overcome this candle. And so what I'd like to see is that that the BA does not go below 50% this candle at any point during this week. Hopefully we'll see it extend. And so then overcome that 232, because then that really opens up the way to that 241, 242 area. and forward. So keep an eye out on that. Volume is showing it's pretty strong. I mean, you can see this tick up right here, and look at the average volume. It's been dropping, and then we all of a sudden we see this big push. So I would anticipate a really strong up there. Okay, let's get into earnings. So, last week we talked Moderna, and Moderna really hit us hard. And one of the things to think about is really about like what you're doing with your portfolio. Like, is it set up so that you can take some of those risks? Are you using some kind of I call it insurance by doing some credit spread? It's like you can experience that maximum loss and make sure that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. I know, guys. I have friends, right? I trade, so traders know other traders, and I mean, they'll show me their screenshots, they'll show me their portfolio, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And a lot of people can do that. I mean, I had some nice wins on AMC on Friday. If you visit our Discord, you can see some of that. I was too late on posting my Southwest Airlines wins, just because it moves so fast. You buy the same day option at $5, and you're like, what do I have to lose? And buy as many as you can. And because at that point everything's going up, and so you get them at $5, and then you look up, it's $52 for each contract that you have. That's a good day. But it really moved strongly throughout the day, so that was a really nice Friday for that. But AMC, you can see like how it's been aggregating. So I just want to again reemphasize, just be careful with what you do. Some of the things that are interesting here is that AMC is that I think I gotta put my glasses on here because this writing got too small. The average move is around 4.4%, but the implied move is at over 13%, which is phenomenal, right? So looking back at some of the research that I've done, it looks like that we should anticipate this going up. I mean, the chart is showing up. I'm not seeing the volume that I would like to see on any sort of move. And of course, it makes sense if you draw a line here through the middle. There hasn't been that much of a move. So, I mean, I have to tell you, I don't know how we're going to trade this. But for now, I would anticipate a bullish leaning move. And so maybe place 2 trades, just an idea. It looks like this is nicely set up for an iron condor. Just make them really wide. The implied volatility is showing perhaps that this might be a really good candidate to do an iron condor. And so just let me check in that real quickly. Seeing what the implied volatility here is on, because it comes out on Monday afternoon. Yeah, we're seeing 176% on the shortest possible options, which is November 12th. Excuse me, I should have grabbed some water before I came to speak. But as you can see, perhaps we can get really wide on this. Perhaps we can go way past the expected move. According to TD Ameritrade, is 7.26 points is the expected move. So the iron condor would be at like 48, 49 on the top side, selling those calls, and on the bottom it would be 7 minus 8, about 33. So that's one way to play it. And then maybe you can do really, it's a meme stock. It's been a meme stock in the past. So maybe it goes crazy one way or the other. Maybe it drops heavily or goes up heavily. So if you get something really inexpensive in case there's like that really big move, then buy on both sides just in case it really does that really big move. So anyway, those are my 2 cents for the AMC. I'm going to play. I'm probably going to hedge it. We're doing an IC. We're taking a slightly bullish stance on that IC. The next one to look at is Workhorse. Workhorse has been one of my favorite stocks here lately to trade. On Friday, it did come down quite interesting to me. Looks like it's oversold. Let's bring that up, right? Look at Workhorse. It did suffer on Friday. Volume's been down. I was expecting the 780 number. I was expecting it to get over that 838 number. We should get the earnings in the morning, the AM on Tuesday. So maybe it's a good entry point would be for it to look at. Did I do that right? Yeah. Okay. Good entry point would be like tomorrow in the morning in the AM. Just take a position that perhaps, one of the ways that I like to trade, this is just a quick strategy session here, is that if you think you're favorable, right? And the way earnings work is they tend to push those prices up, as we approach the earnings period. So unfortunately, this is in the AM. It would have been nice if we would have done this trade on the PM on Tuesday, because Friday it did suffer. I was expecting a little further push up, and so we did get stopped out, and I did come back in because we did see a rejection on the bottom side of that. So I did get back into that trade. But one of the ideas that how you do this trade is that you buy enough options, right? So that in case there's a profit, you can sell enough of the profitable contracts, where you can hold the other two at no risk because they end up being free or close to free. So you're basically buying the opportunity to get into a trade without actually losing. So that's just one idea. You can do the other thing that we talked about, which is really getting wide. What is the implied volatility here? In November 12th, they're at 203%. So yes, we are expecting a really huge move. As far as like what's been the average move, it's only been about 4%, but we have a 16.63% implied volatility on that day. But TD Ameritrade has it down at 203.92%, which just ends up being to a 1.3 point move. Let's see if there is enough volume in the options territory. But yeah, look, you can if you're bullish, you can sell these puts at 5.5. Which is about 1 point down, or at 5. That's basically as far as you can go. The rest is just no enough open interest to place those trades. So just take a look at that. The entire move has been negative. You can see it. It's just down. But we're going to take a bullish stance. I think we've had enough of the down period for this company. So what is my next? AFRM. I can't tell you enough about this AFRM. Has been a really nice stock for yours truly. Play some trades on that, have done worked out well. You can see strong uptrend. It keeps going. It's in an area that I think there's just so much promise, right? Because it's money. Everything has to do with money has been going insane. See what we're seeing here. Yeah, I mean, it's just a strong bullish trend. Maybe the issue usually with earnings is has the price increase already been priced in? Has there been leaks as far as like what's expected? Do we think that we're gotten to the top and then there's more? But we have to follow the information that we have. We could be wrong. Yeah, it's like if we look at, let's see, if we look at key values, EPS growth is low. I mean, volume is high, market cap, right there. So yeah, very interesting. So not very easy to have a prognosis on it. It's been so strong up, and it's more than a month or so since we've had this gap up. And why I mentioned that is like, the stocks want to fill those empty price gaps. So this is one of the ones where we have such a high 127.75 is the implied volatility. That's really, really high, just like the other one that we mentioned. So that lets us go 20 points down, 20 points up to be just beyond the expected move. And that puts us at 144 or so. Where are we? 144. What's the volume? That's too low at 133. We'd have to go all the way to 140 to see 140 and then 135. So you could do that spread right there. And on the top side, they see we have 2184. So the 185 has 645 open interest. So yeah, I think we'll take a bullish stance on this one. Not put a lot of our buying power into it. So we should do well with this trade. I think we're not going to put a super tight bullish stance on it. Maybe really take an out of the money. Let's see, what's the 20 delta? 20 delta is at 190. That's 48. But still 245. Yeah. The options to go way out of the money and have any decent shot are pretty expensive. So yeah, I think what we would look at is probably just take just because of how high the implied volatility is probably just take a bull put on this one with some room. All right, next one. BLNK. Oh, BLNK. This is one of my favorite stocks of all time. And why is that? Because one of the ones that I just bought contracts and I bought contracts and I bought contracts and I waited and I waited and I waited. And then guess what? It finally popped. This was last year. Like charging. Come on. Give me the info I need. Here we go, BLNK. Yeah, you can see like big candles, big fat candles, just tough to trade actually. Unless you're comfortable with volatility. So when I was trading, the price was really low. It was way at 8 and 7. So we saw it rise up and then come down. Got back in right after this crossover here, and then been in for a little bit, but got out right around here. So we've just been waiting. Didn't really follow it, and during all this, haven't followed all this, but we're seeing this negativity here, this BLNK charging, and I'll tell you why. It's kind of, you know, I read that book by Welsh that talks about you just being familiar with things. Well, here's what's interesting. I went to Whole Foods today. I hadn't been to Whole Foods in a while, and then I just saw rows of Tesla charging stations, and we all know what Tesla's been doing. And then I saw another charging station, and so I was like, all right, well, if that isn't a sign, right? But yeah, am I a little superstitious? I'm not, but you do have to pay attention as to what's going on. I hadn't seen all those charging stations before. You know, you see like one or two, but that's it. And now I actually saw charging stations being used on a Sunday night close to Whole Foods. Well, most of the time you don't see enough, and I'm seeing more and more Teslas around. So really interesting. If you look at the price action right now, that's really negative. So you know, like I'm not ignoring that right now. But look, volume is low. It's below average when it made these moves. It did backfill this gap. You know, remember I talked about backfilling the gap. This move right here and this move right here in late October with the high volume, those are strong move versus the weak moves that we see. And when I say weak, it's just not supported by a lot of volume. But you can see, what I like to do is go back and see it. Have we seen this pattern before from this stock? And basically 3 negative in a row, 1, 2, 3, and then it hit the positive. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives in a row. Very steep on these downturns. Volume was low, but it did continue that pattern with low volume. So maybe some kind of setup. So overall, like tough to trade, right? It's like according to this, the average move is 3.3 points. So as far as like what during this time, so let's earnings time. So let's look at what good old TD Ameritrade is telling us. 142% is our implied volatility on it. It turns out to be a 4-point move, 4.3 point move. So selling at 27, not many contracts being traded, just between 206, 272, 184. maybe that $23 contract, 260 with 267 open interest, or maybe we have to go a little further out. We have to go actually November 19th, where there's more contracts. So anyway, when I'm doing earnings play, I just play it close, unless I do plan to swing. Obviously, this earnings call will happen on Thursday, and so that's the 11th. So that's one day away. The question is, do we do the trade tomorrow to play up to it? Maybe. I'll see the price action tomorrow. If I see any positive on it, then I'll probably take a bullish stance on it. I'm overall bullish on it. If you're a long-term investor, then this is one that I think has a lot of promise to really go up, but likely from like being purchased, really. I haven't seen its cash. EPS forward is like negative. Is it profitable? It's really unprofitable on valuation. So the 4P is minus 33. So pretty difficult for it to be bought out, but that's where I see the plan on it. I'd have to put my analyst hat as far as like fundamentals. Haven't done that in a little bit, but I think it does have good potential. Okay, next one. We're taking forever here. Okay, I thought that it would be really good if we focus on a high flyer, ADTX. Let's take a look at ADTX, which is like literally gambling. This is what caught my attention. Look at that. And relative to all the other volume, it was incredible. Now look, last time that happened, boom, it just died, right? It just died. It didn't completely die here. It did go below halfway point. So a point of caution, obviously. So, you know, this one, you're not going to play with any sense, right? If you're going to do this one, it's just because you're going to be senseless about it. So obviously just do like a couple contracts and that's it. It depends on your portfolio size, but if you don't have that much money, then just don't even worry about it. But just to put it out there, the $2.50 calls expiring November 19th will cost you about $17 a piece. You know, if it's done this crazy stuff before and earnings are coming out, it may get driven back up, you know, so maybe we already saw it being driven back up, but I think you buy a few contracts and if it goes ham, then fine. You can even do the $4 contracts. It's a little too far out for me, but it would cost you like $7. So anyway, those are the plays that I like, right? Because it's like, what's the risk? Okay, $7. What's the upside? Well, this could do that thing. You obviously set your limit, right? Where you sell at least a couple of contracts where it just might hit and just go with it, right? So anyway, a lot to talk about. You can see I can talk about this all day long. So let's really like bring this home. Let's put a bow in this because I've gotten so many questions on how to trade, how do you do this, how do you do that. Okay, let me give you kind of like the 30,000 foot view. Our goal in trading is to make a profit without too much risk. That's everybody's goal with everything they do in life. But how do you do it in trading? This thing called stop losses, really important. Whether there's a soft stop loss, which means you don't have it written down, is not on your order form, or a hard stop loss, which is like it's in there, right? It's in your account and it's put in there. So if you're using a platform where you can't do that, right? Then I'm going to tell you that you move platforms. I really like TD Ameritrade, and I like Tasty Trade. Tasty Trade's really phenomenal for putting option trades. Why do I like option trades? A lot of people are like, hey, aren't they risky? Why are they so risky? Why do you keep trading those? And my answer to that is that it depends on what you're doing, right? Because if you have an option, let's just keep it simple, right? Like these calls that I'm talking about. Okay, if you buy 100 shares of this ADTX, 100 shares are going to cost you right now, today's price, It's close, obviously, but it's going to be around 206, so $206 for 100 shares. And then it drops 50%, you're going to lose about $100. Whereas if you buy this option that I'm telling you, you can buy two of them, which is 200 shares, right, at $17, $34, and it drops half, you only lose that money. So you got to know what you're trading is my point, right? Are you doing this trade for a quick scalp? Are you doing this trade to meet certain requirements, and when those requirements are broken, then you're out of the trade? Or is it like, hey, this is a long-term investment where you're looking at weekly, I don't know why you would do this in this company, but in general, what you would do is that you would looking at weekly charts, right? You're not looking at daily charts. You're not looking at 1 hour charts or 15-minute or 5-minute charts. You're looking at weekly charts, right? So, and trading may be like something lagging, like moving averages. And so if you're looking at that way, then hey, by all means, like do what you need to do. But overall, I just want you to have a plan. Just be careful trading. Nobody gets good at something without putting work into it, right? It's like people get lucky, people hit these home runs, but what tends to happen is that same attitude that got them there is the same attitude that gets them out of there. It gets them in there and it gets them out. So think of a person that has a strategy where you want high rates of return, and I, of course, can teach you that. I help with that. Visit us at Options Trading Pilot. You can follow us. We have a Discord as well. And obviously, we can move forward from there. Anyway, have a great week trading. If you have any questions, don't worry, don't hesitate. Don't worry about not bothering us or anything. Just hit up the comments, hit subscribe, and like us.
Well, good evening. I'm John, Options Trading Pilot. OptionsTradingPilot.com. You can see us on the screen here. We have a number of different services. We trade every day. If you want subscription with us, you can. There's a couple different options. You can do stock trading only, options trading only, that's stock options, and then the premium, which is stock options, futures, as well as crypto. And we also do some one-on-one services that you can book with us as well. You can watch us trade every day, all day long. We post our trades out in real time. So let's get to it. Take a look at what's going on this week. OptionsTradingPilot.com. So here are some of the areas that I'm looking at that I'm pretty bullish on right now. I am long the VIX, even though the market's going up, volatility is up. So that's good for me, up 4%. And some of these are all commodity-based funds, PDBC, DBC, copper's up, silver's up, TLT. I am short at the 152. Bonds have been pretty strong, but I think we're going to see interest rates tick up this week, and then gold's also up. So some of the longer term things we're looking at, we get to the futures market. So here's what the Bitcoin has been doing. I'm still pretty bullish on, this is over 6 months, so we could do a little bit less. But Bitcoin is popping up again, up to 63,000. I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin, but I like alternatives like Coin, C-O-I-N, the stock, Mara, M-A-R-A. I like Ethereum. I'm pretty heavy into Ethereum, ETH or ETHE, which is the stock equivalent. Also, I think we're looking at, wow, it's pretty exciting. Here's the Cannabis Equity Index. That's finally getting some legs. It needs it. That's up 1.7%. And then we have some other silver, gold currencies. Some of the things not doing so well right now. This is the 10-year rates. So this is actually showing what the rates are doing. So rates are going down, bonds are going up. Very interesting. We have some several FOMC meetings this week. We had one last week. It looks like we have inflation. Are they going to raise interest rates or just let it run for a while? They think it's kind of transitory. I don't believe it is. I think once you let the inflation cat out of the bag, it will not go back in very easily. So that's why I'm pretty heavy long on commodities, oil, and some of the, I think, small caps like the IWM, pretty bullish on that. We're still in earnings season. It's really almost over, but we've had some real blowouts, like we talked about for the last several weeks. Volatility has been fairly subdued. The VXX is sitting at right around, well, it's a little bit higher today, but right around 20, and that's not really ideal for earnings. And so we've had a number of stocks. IBM started off fairly poorly. They really tanked. You can see here this big drop, and they've recovered some, but not much. Visa had their earnings, big drop again. A little bit of recovery, not too much. Piton, which was on Friday, was down about 33% or so. So you can see here that this has really dropped off. Oh, hi, there's my wife in the background of the video.
Oh, sorry.
But anyway, so here's the big drop in Piton, down about 35%. And that has not recovered. I'd like to get long this stock, but I'm not sure what it's going to be doing next week. So we'll have to wait and see. So I think earnings season has been pretty tough. It's usually a place that I really like to trade. It's been very subdued. It's been very hard to trade naked or uncovered options, where a theoretical unlimited risk, or at least a high risk trades, more higher risk trades than strangles or straddles. Been doing a lot of iron condors, but those just aren't as exciting. So you can see up here on my wall, if I can point to it correctly, that's my hole-in-one certificate. That's kind of how I've been feeling this earnings season. The real big wins like that have just not happened. So we got this week coming up. Tesla, we don't know if he's going to be selling, I don't know, $25 billion of his shares based on what the Twitter community decides. I don't know if he's really going to sell those or not, but it should be very interesting for Tesla. Tesla's gone up a tremendous amount. I have a very wide iron condor on Tesla, so I'll be okay unless the thing drops in half or doubles. But and anyway, it'll still be a limited max loss. So I'm not too worried about it, but it's kind of interesting. This week for earnings, we have Disney, PayPal. I think Home Depot and Lowe's are the following week, but we have Zynga, Virgin Galactica, that's SPCE, WYNN, WYNN, AFRM, AFRM, and then Disney, DIS, and several more, but those are some of the bigger names that I pulled out. So we'll just have to wait and see. Let's take a look at Disney. So right now, so many stocks have gone up a tremendous amount. Here's Disney that was at 170. It's up 10% over the last few days. It's hard to trade when it's above its normal range, but we'll just have to wait and see. Every day we'll look and see what the bid ask looks like, what kind of strikes are available. We look at the volume, and then we look at this IV rank, and we'll get into more of that. You can watch a lot of our other videos. So here are some of the current positions I have open on this current screen. I have the Dogecoin, the Dot Coin, Ethereum, and then I have a Starbucks trade on as well. So with some pretty good earnings. So we'll just see how things go this week. That's it for me. You'll see from Guillermo either before or after this message, and he'll get into a few different areas.